Well, 132 games goes on for a long time because you only play about 20 games in the regular season, and then you play region and state games. So it amounts to around 30 if you win every game. It takes a lot of seasons to do that. And everybody changes over that many years. It took us 5 years to do that, plus one game of the season before. So the only constant in there is Coach Norman Carter. That's the reason we won 132 games.
So you had a great leader who surrounded himself with great talent, but you had a great leader that drove that. I can tell you, I've read it. I had tears reading part of it. I laughed out loud reading part of it. By the way, I want to keep saying it. The name of the book is There Was Once a Team, written by Bunny Fuller Harris with her daughter, Katie Harris Dodrill. Bunny, let me ask you this. Why did you write the book?
I wanted the children of today, the teenagers of today, my family, and of course my little granddaughter, to know what happened. And although we've talked about it many times, stories need writing down. Stories of your life need writing down. And so I decided, well, this should be a memoir after talking to Bruce Goddard and others, namely Ed Grissamore, who wrote the foreword. He's an author and columnist for Macon Telegraph. They influenced me to write this book, and it was so much fun to go back in time. I was kind of sheltering in place during that time, as most of the country was. Gave me something to do.
Well, I'm glad you wrote it, and the thing that hit me is that I think the book, you wrote it for your grandchildren and the people that were involved and all the people that followed you and the people that are still alive that followed you. But the book, I believe, is going to reach a much broader audience simply because of the lessons in this book. It can be a manual for leadership. And as somebody that's just retired from the business world and running in that environment, these lessons are priceless that came from your leader as a leader, but also just life lessons for anybody. Katie, got to ask, I can tell you why I'm glad that you co-authored this book. Katie is a professor of English. I think her title is Associate Professor of English at Andrew College. I would love to know your insight and what the fun you had helping your mom and putting this together and what you brought to the table or what your mother wanted you to bring to the table.
Yes, this was just an amazing experience. Mama started right after Labor Day of 2020, and she wrote until around Christmas, and then she sent me a draft of what she'd written so far. And it was great. I really enjoyed reading it and learning more about the team. Of course, I knew about the winning streak, but reading it, I saw all of these stories that I had heard, and it was great. But there were things that I thought, I think maybe it would be better if we reworked this a little bit. Maybe it would be better if we put this story, in a different place. Or there were stories that I knew, places where Mama was not bragging about herself enough, I thought, because she was such a great player and such an integral part of the team. And I said, Mama, you need to tell this story. And she'd say, oh, no, that would just be bragging about myself. And I said, well, you have to tell it. So that was part of my role, to make her brag about herself. But I worked with her on revising the book and on editing it. And I was really excited to get to use my skills, the things that I'm good at, as far as writing, correcting grammar errors and that kind of thing, to help tell this important story. And it was just wonderful to get to spend the time with my mom that I got to in working on this book.
Well, I can tell you, it is so well done, and there's no question your English expertise and putting the stories in the right place. But even as I read this, I happened to know what kind of player Bunny was. There were games that she scored 40-something points in a game and didn't play but a little over half of it, or 3/4 of it. And she was one of the greatest high school female athletes that ever hit the state of Georgia. I have a feeling if you had not been involved with this, we'd have missed out on saying that. Everybody would have been screaming, Bunny, you got to talk about yourself a little bit.